Hey y'all, it's y'all favorite cozy girl, Chi the Reality Queen, and I am back again with another episode of Robe Chronicles. Today we'll be talking about Married at First Sight, Season 16, Episode 13. This episode starts off with Kirsten and Shaq going to a home that she is trying to potentially sell because Kirsten's a realtor. Um, the house is beautiful, that's number one. And it's funny because during their confessional, for the first time, they're like all lovey, like holding on to each other. This is when they're outside the house, which I don't know if it was fake or if it was before Kirsten made the crazy comment about her man buying her a house and a car and all this stuff. And it's kind of funny to me because, like, girl, you want a baller. I don't know why you're on Married at First Sight wanting or having the aspirations of being matched with a baller, because a baller is not going to be on Married at First Sight like that. But I love Kirsten because I'm on her side. Yes, my man should buy me a house. Yes, my man should buy me a car. Like, period. I'm not saying that she can't contribute, and I'm not saying I would not contribute, but I do like the aspiration of him actually just buying it as a gift because he loves you. That works for me. Um, but Shaq is so irritated by this, and I think it's funny because I always say something is funny. It may not be funny, it may just be interesting or whatever. But the truth is, he feels that way because he's not rich enough to afford that. If he has the money to afford that, what she said is not going to rub him the wrong way, because people with money, they're not worried about that, right? Like, they're just going to do it. It's going to be like, oh, you want the house? Well, I have money. Why wouldn't I just buy you that house? You know what I mean? So I'm not trying to say that Shaq is poor or he doesn't actually care about her, but I am saying that he definitely isn't balling and he's a little bit on a budget, because, to be honest, if you had money, her request isn't really that crazy. I don't think personally. But if you don't have money, then that is a crazy request. Jasmine and her friend meet up so she could talk about how her marriage isn't working. And, I mean, obviously, I don't even know why we're still talking about it. He doesn't find her to be attractive. She's telling her friend that, and she says that's why it's not working. And for her, it's hard for her to now break down that barrier that she's built up because she knows that about how he feels. So I get it. Like, to me, I'm on Jasmine's side. I'm like, girl, I get it. Nicole and Chris go to a deli so Nicole can feel like she's back at home. And honestly, these little things that they did to, like, kind of make them feel, I guess, reminiscent or comfortable, not all of them were well, to be honest. Personally, I didn't like all of them. Like the deli, okay, fine, whatever. That's fine. But some of the other ones I didn't care for. Nicole talks about how she doesn't want to expose her true self to Chris because she feels like he won't like it. And funny, because when she actually told Chris who she was in the past, he was judging her. And even before he said, because they cut to him in an interview and he's like, oh, that person I would have never wanted to be with, whatever. But even before he said that, his face when she was telling him about ditching school and all this stuff it was filled with judgment. And each episode, I like Chris less and less. And I know Nicole wants it to work, and I know Nicole likes him, and I actually hope it works. That's, whatever. But I just feel like he's not the person that he has initially presented himself to be. I feel like it's a little bit fake, right? It's giving fake. Clint and Gina go to play soccer because Clint has fond memories playing soccer. I'm like, okay. I almost feel like that was made up because maybe he had nothing and they already went on the boat to do sailing. So he's trying to, like, find something else. And it just seems so awkward. Like, why are you playing soccer and it's raining? Like, go home. Have this conversation in the house. I couldn't even focus on what they were talking about, because I just was like, why are you outside in the rain? And then anytime Clint tried to talk, Gina would over talk him and try to, like, not cut him off, but be like, yeah, I understand. Because it's like, girl, let him get his statement out. You don't need to relate to each statement that he makes. I don't like when people do that. Like, I'm not saying that you can't have a relatable story or a relatable experience, but to over talk people as they're trying to get their experience out, to share your relatable experience, really grinds my gears. I don't like it. Jasmine and Aries, I forgot what happens. I don't know. But either way, their interaction, I think they're at the house, and their interaction, like, every interaction looks like Jasmine's over it. And I don't blame her. Like, usually I'm like, girl, just, work with him, whatever. But I'm like, I don't know if I could actually commit to giving someone a part of me who has already told me that they think I'm ugly. Like, that's how do you move forward? How do you deal with someone who has already determined, like, oh, you're ugly to me and I'm just not attracted to you, and because you're ugly to me, I can't even fathom having sex with you? Like, we're all wasting our time here. Then Kirsten and Shaq goes to Kirsten's old house. Now, this was very interesting to me because Kirsten talks about how she saw her father provide and all this, and he did everything for the family. But then she also mentions that her mom and dad got divorced when she was 8 years old. Girl, when did you see him provide? For 8 years? 3 you probably don't remember, so only 5 years? Or was he providing after he divorced your mom? Was he still giving your mother money and monetary support even though they were divorced? Because to me, that didn't really make sense. I was like, okay. And the house that he bought for your family, don't get me wrong, it was a house, it was nice, it was cool, but I'm just saying, like, you showed Shaq a $2.9 million home that was, like, crazy nice, but your dad had you in just a regular home that was nice, right? Like, maybe lower your expectations a little bit, right? I don't know. It was a little weird to me, but Kirsten's still my girl, and I support her idea of having a man buy everything for her. Gina and Clint went to Gina's hair school. This is one of those ones I didn't care for. I'm like, same with the soccer. I was like, why are you at hair school? She was like, it's like I woke up and I changed my life. I was supposed to be this, and now we're sitting in a hair school, and my goal is to one day open up a hair school. I don't know. It didn't hit for me. I don't know. Gina and Clint are so boring to me because I feel like they're supposed to work and they're trying really hard to make it not work. So now it's just annoying to me watching them together. Like, I feel like they should be way more physical, way more communicative, way more everything, and they're just not. And so it's just like, ugh, I'm over them. Chris's letter. So they also write letters to their younger self. Chris's letter was kind of sad because even though he didn't say it directly, the letter was basically about his father verbally abusing him, which is sad. And Nicole's letter was about her being better to herself. And, they do a little interview with her and she's like, yeah, I'm still worried about heartbreak because heartbreak can always happen. But how I am with Chris makes me feel like even if that is how it ends up, like, this journey was worth it, and I'm glad I had this. And I feel like I see so much growth in Nicole based on who she said she was, but I just don't see it in Chris. Like, I feel like he talks about, oh, I used to be someone that lets myself get run over by women and whatever, and I get that. And so maybe, like I said, maybe he's trying to put his foot down, and that's why it's coming off so, I guess, like, in the opposite direction. Like, he's just so stubborn. But who knows? It might just be the way things are being edited as well. So I always try to give credit or give, like, mind to the fact that editing plays a part in how things look and how they're perceived. Eris writes a letter to himself, and it's a bit bland, but I think he's just not that emotional of a person, and he's working on that. He talked about earlier about how he just gets up and goes because that's how he grew up. Like, his family moved around a lot. So now anything, he just gets up and moves. Not that he's running away from people, but that's just how he feels, and feels so, like, maybe not committed to anything so strongly because that's how he was raised. Jasmine's letter, on the other hand, is about her right before she moved when she was 9. And it's funny because she was like, she was really happy, really content. And she didn't know things were going to be so difficult and she was going to be bullied and life was going to be hard. And I love that she has worked her way out of that insecure feeling when she like built herself back up after being bullied. And that's why it bothers me and probably her, obviously, so much that Eris doesn't find her attractive, because it's like, I just became, and she said it before, I just became confident in myself again from being broken down for years. And now I'm with somebody again who is like, you're not attractive. But I say to Jasmine that your self-worth cannot be in anybody else. Like, it has to be in you. The way you built yourself up is how you have to keep moving. So maybe Eris isn't the one. Like, yes, we're on the show. Yes, it's on national TV, but like, he might not be the one, and you just move on. And she even talks about how the letter is pretty surface level because she doesn't want to get too deep. And you can see Eris is kind of irritated. But I'm afraid that he wants her to get deep. So when they get to decision day and he says no, it's like, oh, this girl that I knew would love me and fall for me and say yes. Because that's what I think he wants. A part of me, and I could be wrong, he might not be that malicious, but a part of me feels like he wants her to fall for him. So when he says no, he's saying no. It's not her saying no to him. He wants her to say yes and for him to say no. He wants to be the person to end that and be the ending factor of that. That's what I think. I could be wrong, but there's a small feeling inside of me that feels that way. Shaq's family met with Kirsten and they went to eat. And it's funny because she's asking his family about him and all that stuff. And all I heard, and maybe this is the wrong way to take it, but all I heard is that Shaq is extremely controlling and likes things his way. Whether it's getting the family together or doing stuff. And I'm not saying that it's not a good thing that he gets the family together, but I'm saying that he's so used to doing everything and getting everything done that he's really just a controlling person. That's all I heard. To me, nothing else. That's what they said. Family oriented, but controlling. Then Gina invited her stylist over, and I don't know why, actually. I'm not sure. I feel like Clint is very comfortable with them. He was able to, I guess, get to know who Gina is, but I'm like, Gina only ever talks about work and working. So inviting her stylist over is just more work. Like, I feel like she is either the most boring person on earth because she does not have a life outside of work and working, which is a possibility, or she's trying so hard not to make this work with Clint that she's focusing on the most bland part. Not bland because she's a hard worker and she's like trying to get her business, but she wants to focus so much on this business so it flourishes maybe once the show is aired. I don't know. It's weird to me. I'm like, girl, these are your only friends? The only people you're friends with that know are stylists? Because the people in your wedding are not these stylists that I'm seeing. How come that's all we keep getting? We're not getting anybody else. Like, everybody has provided different people, but I feel like she keeps going back to those stylists, and I'm not quite sure why. But in Clint's defense, he's really comfortable with all women because it was like 6 of them, and he held his own. It was very comfortable. He still can play to a big crowd. So, he's not, I still kind of like him despite, everything. Chris did he talk? Now I'm thinking maybe he didn't talk about being verbally abused in his letter, but Chris takes her to the paint shop where he then talks about being verbally abused by his father. I don't know why they were at that paint shop. I still don't understand it. I'm like, why were you at the paint shop? Because your dad owned a paint shop? Like, so you went to a random paint shop, not the one your father owns. You went to a random paint shop to talk about your father owning a paint shop. You could have done that in the house. Just wanted to shoot on location. For what? Nobody knows. Then Eris, Jasmine, Shaq, and Kirsten get together and they go on like a double date, which I think is cool because I think the only double date we've seen was when Chris, Clint, Gina, and Nicole went to do the little weird tour bus thing. But they went to this place that looked fun. It was like, I guess it's like paintball, but with like Nerf gun thingies. And it looked like a lot of fun. Then the couple split and they go to talk about their relationships. And, you know, Shaq is like, oh, I don't want to be flirting with you. He's talking to Jasmine. He's like, but, you know, you're a beautiful person inside and out. And it's crazy, blah, 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 whatever. And, you know, Kirsten is telling Aries, like, I think we just have a communication issue. Like, we can never get to the same accord while communicating. And I think, yeah, that's what that was. And then Shaq does complain about feeling like Kirsten's expectations of him are too much, like, because she wants a baller and he not a baller. That's just it. He not a baller. That's, I don't know. I mean, nothing. He can't make himself a baller unless he a baller or go get a job that makes him a baller. He just finished his PhD. Maybe he has to work at it. But either way, whatever. I mean, I guess later on, she says she's like joking or something. But either way, I'm like, girl, stand in that. You're not wrong. Stick to your guns. But yeah. And it's funny because I think that Aries, surprisingly, is doing a lot of work in recent episodes to get deep with Jasmine, and Jasmine's trying very hard not to get deep. And I get why she's not, because she says she's somebody who falls in love easy and she likes people. So she's trying not to get deep because she doesn't want to fall for somebody who has already said he does not find her attractive, which makes perfect sense. I also get why Shaq is upset with Kirsten. I do think he's a little sassy in his responses. Like, I feel like, why are you treating her like this? Like, you could just be like, okay, well, you know, I'm not a baller, so, you know. But I feel like he comes, it's like a little passive aggressive sassy when he's trying to tell her that he's not going to do something. Instead of just being like, well, Kirsten, I'm not a baller. I'm not rich, so I can't provide that. Like, I could provide, but I cannot provide that because I'm not rich like that. It's a very simple statement, but I feel like he wants to have an attitude and come at her in a certain way. And that, personally, I don't like. Is Kirsten extra? Maybe. Yes. Possibly. 100%. But that's her standard, whatever the hell it is. But if that's your standard, in my opinion, you shouldn't be on a show like this because those people aren't here. I don't think. But, you know, the previews for the next episode seem really good. I still think we haven't gotten to the crust. And I feel like this season will never really get there because, again, we're watching a bunch of people who just don't really like each other besides Nicole and Chris. Like, everybody else is just trucking along. They're getting paid, so they're doing the show. And, you know, it's not coming off very well. But that's all that we have. And so we'll take what we get. But I don't know. I'm just ready for this season to be over. Take us to decision day. Stop showing us that clip about McKinley jumping in Gina's DMs. Like, we're over it. No one cares. Get us there. Cut this short. But I do think that the expert that they bring in next week is going to be, hopefully, get us a little bit further, because the experts that they have aren't doing their job, you know? But anyways, like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you think. Tell me if you agree with me or if you disagree with me. And let's, you know, come back for episode 14. See you guys next time. Bye.